Astral projection is the ability of a person's spirit to leave their body and travel to different places. Since all the way back in ancient Egyptian times, people have been practicing astral projection with hallucinogenic drugs and self-hypnosis. Long story short, it's just dreaming on steroids, and whether or not your spirit is actually leaving your body and traveling somewhere is debatable. But why am I even talking about this? Well, over the past week, I began to hate flying FPV drones, which is particularly inconvenient since this is an FPV channel. And in my journey to try and fall in love with FPV again, I stumbled into a realization that changed everything for me. FPV is astral projection. Now, I know I went to art school and this sounds insanely dramatic, but bear with me as I try to explain what's going on here. My career goal is to be an FPV content creator. My content grows when I post insane flying clips. My insane flying clips require me to crash over and over and over. And that crashing turns the process of FPV into something I don't recognize or even like. So here's what happened. In an effort to do an FPV adventure video, this past week I hiked to this beautiful new spot and borderline lost my mind. Finley and I found this crazy rock formation in Chatsworth called the Labyrinth, and it's exactly what it sounds like. Now, I expected it to be a difficult spot, but I didn't expect for it to be the hardest spot I've ever flown at. Over the course of this session, I got so tunnel vision and started getting extremely upset every time I crashed, which was the entire time.
What the f is happening? I cannot fly! It's driving me crazy! Ah. I hate the spot.
Now, this was definitely partly due to the fact that it's super hard to fly there, but also we drove and hiked and carried all our gear up there, and the pressure of getting footage so that I can continue to grow my content and get closer to my dream career was becoming too much. And aside from those obvious problems, when I got home, I started to think maybe the honeymoon phase is over. Maybe FPV has lost its sparkle and it isn't for me. But I wasn't gonna give up that easily. So the next day I thought maybe I was just rusty. I've spent a lot of time crashing in the past couple weeks and not a lot of time flying. So I went to the park for a little practice session and decided to keep it casual. And during this outing, I was absolutely ripping. I felt so locked in on the sticks and I was hitting this sweet dive through this tree pretty consistently, but there was no rush or excitement that I used to feel when I started out in FPV. After a couple great packs, a few of the kids in my neighborhood came by and asked what I was up to. And then this happened.
What up, fellas?
Are you trying to use this?
I don't need to. I'm just flying around.
We'll move for you.
Okay.
What, you didn't see it? Here, watch it again.
Are you trying to use this?
I don't need to.
Look, you probably still didn't notice anything, but that's fine. This is the moment that struck me like a lightning bolt. Hundreds of crashes, hundreds of incredible flights, but what brought everything into focus? I shrugged. Somehow, my brain translated the concept of body language into my flying. They were being kind and asked if I needed to fly there, and I said, I don't need to.
I don't need to.
And my subconscious tried to describe my point further with body language. Now, you might be thinking, so what? And I was thinking the same thing when I got home. Despite getting a massive rush and enjoying FPV again all of a sudden, I didn't actually understand why any of this mattered. But now I've slept on it, and I think I got it. The only reason anyone would ever care about astral projection is it implies that you have an invincible floating spirit that can disconnect from your body and take you places. FPV is literally that. But some of you might be thinking, yeah, but it's just technology and it's not as profound as your consciousness actually leaving your body. But in my opinion, that's irrelevant. Technology is profound. And for some reason, just because it's artificial, people think it's disappointing. Allow me to make another analogy. Imagine your cat is chasing a laser pointer across the wall. It keeps swatting at the light and even gets a couple clean sneak attacks off, but it's not working. It's never gonna work. You have a pretty special cat, and after a little bit of research, it uses a photosensitive material called film to catch the photons and petrify them into an image before finally ripping it into a million little pieces. So, is that just photography? No. It's so much more. Somehow it took this untouchable, elusive, infuriating shred of light and captured it. With FPV, we've done the same thing. We have functionally invented astral projection. We have captured an idea that humans have had forever and controlled it. We've put lightning in a bottle. The simple explanation that I was saying to Finley is, at the end of the day, I just want to be a little guy in the sky. And if I keep in mind that FPV is not an activity, it's a platform for existence, my overcomplicated art school brain is pretty satisfied. So that's the end of my rant. I hope it made sense.